manually, it's even fine. At the start, it's okay. Like, get the proven traction that people are willing to pay you for it or are willing to use your service. Then with that, right, then you start to think, okay, how can I get more serious? So that's how you do it. And just in case you have like 20 features in your mind, like, oh, this website or this app can do this. My advice is just choose one or two things that you feel are the most core and focus on that. And then once you do that, later on, when you have traction, you can think of adding the other few. That's how I would kind of advise. And I think someone else said this to me: don't build a machine gun only to kill an ant. Makes sense, right? So if you want to kill an ant, you don't need a machine gun, just tissue paper, enough really. Or some of us just use our fingers, right? Okay, so next. Okay, so the challenge is when the going gets tough. So this is for people, I guess, it's just for some of you who have yet to start something, I guess it's just good for you to know from my own humble story here that really times will get tough, even if you have the most brilliant of ideas. I remember talking to one of the most successful pub owners in Singapore, and you guys will definitely know, but I just shouldn't name it. But anyway, they have multiple chains, very successful. I remember talking to the owner, and I thought, wow, this guy is like instant success, on newspapers, everything. But he told me that in the early days, right, he and the other co-founder would really sit like at the bar counter, and just like it's like empty nights, and just hoping one customer will walk in, and when one customer walks in, he gets so happy. So that's the kind of, I'm trying to say that, every business has their humble start and it will definitely get tough. Even if you have a good start, it's always how you can maintain it. How do you keep the users coming, and how do you balance competitors? Things will always get tough. So this segment is really to kind of share from my experience what to do when the going gets tough. Okay, next. The first challenge, right, is you most likely, right, will run out of cash. Yeah, because for a few reasons. One, you will scale up the development. You may hire more people to help you do your stuff, right? You may have to spend more on marketing. Even if you use name cards, you still need to buy name cards, right? So you will definitely run out of cash. Or let's say you decide to invest in this particular project. Sometimes you can only invoice them at the end of the project, but you need to pay your staff in advance. So I guarantee you, you surely will reach this point where you are kind of like where cash is tight. So I've had many times that this kind of thing happened, and next. Yeah, the other thing is people feel that your business sucks. Yeah, this has happened to me before, by the way. Like, people really look at you, and then after really, I shouldn't use this word, but maybe after really intensely talking to you, more than intensely talking to you, and then they basically telling you, hey, you suck, and in your face. So I've had that before, and it's not a nice feeling. I almost felt like, wow, maybe I should just give it up, kind of thing. And so these are the two kind of common things that would happen to every entrepreneur. So maybe like on the first thing, I would just say when it comes to cash flow, right? The advice given to me was, as a boss, actually your number one goal, right, is just never run out of cash. Yeah, just don't run out of cash. Make sure you have enough buffer, and your job, it's not so much like product direction and everything. Yes, that's important, but without the cash, right, you cannot really go forward. Yeah. So that was one advice that was given to me. I thought it was pretty good. And I think on the second idea of your business sucks, when people say it, just have a very honest evaluation of yourself. Do you really feel that your business sucks? Very honestly, look at yourself and ask yourself that. And if you believe that you don't suck, right? Just ignore them and just move on. So that was what I did. I just ignored the guy. I just took the points into consideration. But deep down, when I asked myself, I really felt that this thing can work. Maybe it doesn't work now, but in time, it can really work. So I just stuck on to do the things that I did, and I prayed very hard. Sometimes you really reach your wit's end already. I'm like, oh man, what can I do? So I just hope something will work out, and eventually, after some period of time, that same guys that like messed around with me in the boardroom, right, they called me up. And I was like, I thought, wow, call me to say again, your business sucks. Hey, I hope you're closed down. So they called me and they said, hey, dude. I know it might be kind of surprised, but that day when you presented, it didn't go well. I was like, yeah, I'm so sorry, wasted your time. No. But we like to tell you that amongst, firstly, we don't do this with many people. Out of 100 businesses we see, we only end up funding one or even less than that. So about something about you that we like. And if you're keen, I will be keen to sit down with you and to work out how we can push your business forward, tweak the business model. Yeah, so that's what happened. And from there, we just what I did was to just do as as things come. I just take it as it goes. And eventually, we had went from no interest, and then in the end we had multiple investors. We had to turn down some of them, which was not very. I didn't feel nice about it. But yeah, that's how the way it goes. So that was how I handled it. Just take it one step at a time. Just if you really believe that it can go, you just continue working. And I believe when you have something good, people will come. You don't have to seek it out. People just want to be associated with that. So the next thing, so a very simple point tree, which is a PRAY. Yeah, I just mean this candidly. I don't mean to be religious on a Sunday morning, but really, it's because some things I really find in business out of your control. Really, I think someone said that businessmen are the most superstitious. For a while, I didn't really agree with that, but actually, as I kind of think about it, yeah, maybe sometimes true, because when you do business, you are the paymaster, when you get paid, right, you don't really think about it, but when you're paying someone, right, I tell you, it really hurts, and it comes from your own pocket. And there's some things, right, that are just out of your control, like seasons that, really dry, but there are seasons that, the rain is coming and really, things really pick up. And so, yeah, for me, I don't know, as I thought back about when preparing this slide, some things are really out of your control, and very candidly, I would say, for me, it's just pray. I was oh man, heaven, can you help me out here? I really need some help. I'm at my wit's end, and so far, it has worked out for me. So, yeah, that's a very candid lesson. Next. Okay, but this is an undergirding principle that I wanted to share with everyone. While I, talk about my story and challenges when the going gets tough. For me, a principle that has always worked is people first, business second. Even when we hit very tough times, for me, I always felt that I can, even if I delete the whole platform, it goes tomorrow, it's fine. But most importantly, I want to take care of the people. If I have to choose between spending the dollar on building the platform or spending the dollar helping out that staff who are stuck with me through thick and thin, I would definitely choose the latter. Yeah, and for me, that's really key. Let me share with you another very sad story. Serious, my stories are very sad. So I was, we had developed the site. Remember the 3 developers that I told you had joined me? So I decided to buy one of them lunch, from, when, after building our website, it was pretty good. So I said, hey, come down for lunch and buy you lunch. I remember the time we had ramen, right? And we were about to pay for the meal. Then I took out my card and put it down. And then, of course, the cashier takes it and then we banked it. And she came back, she said, oh, sorry, sir, your card bounced. I was like, oh my gosh. Then I opened my cash, wow, not enough to pay for the ramen. Yeah, so I was like, oh dude, I'm so sorry, I realized I don't have enough to buy you a meal, though I said I wanted to buy you a meal. So I was like, oh man, and it's like, hey, don't worry about it. He's like, oh, I'll pay for it. But of course, I felt so bad, and that was one of our low moments in the, in that journey, and yeah, and I tell another sad story. Another sad story was also there was this one month where, oh man, we looked at the bank account, right, and wow, there's no way we could pay all the staff salaries. So I actually had to sit them down and say, hey guys. I'm really sorry, I really can't afford to pay you guys this month, and I might have to just give you half of the salaries first, if you don't mind, and I'll pay the rest when I can. Yeah, and it's a terrible feeling. Any of you run businesses, that's probably one of the worst feelings you could have. Yeah, because when you know that people depend on you for their livelihoods, they have loans to pay, their families to feed. It's a really sucky feeling. Yeah, and I really would not wish that for any of you. And that's just some of the tough times that we went through. And through that season, what I learned is that really always put the people first. And though we went through, because we went through such tough times, right? In my mind, every time we get a good deal, I want to reward the staff. So I always tell them, hey guys, every project that we get, right? I want you guys to have a share of, what we are earning. Yeah, and that's something that we do. I don't think every company would do that, but just for me and how it started and the people who stuck with me, it's something that I held on to, people first, and I would take time to also meet up with them. This is very key, to meet up with your people that you're working with, and even this works even in project groups that you have, right? If you want to get work done, right, the best way is when you have relationship. If you don't have relationship and you want to force someone to finish that slide to stay up till 5 a.m. and do it, unlikely he wouldn't. He'll just watch World Cup at 12 a.m. So, but really, how if you want to get people to work on stuff for you, right? The relationship is super important. So what I do is that I will meet up with my staff regularly, even though it's very awkward. Sometimes I tell them, hey, to be honest, right, so this is a bit awkward for me, like, I'm just talking to you like that, but hey, I feel that it's necessary, and then he or she will just chuckle, and then we're like, you don't be so awkward, I'll be like, okay, try my best. So then I'll just chat, hey, so how's life, find out about their family, find out about, hey, how's your finance doing? So I say, hey, boss, finance really tough. I say, hey, I'm very sorry to hear that. Hey, I want to make sure you have a good life. Hey, here's what I have in mind. I'll share with them my business plans. Don't be afraid to share with them. Let them know what you have in mind. Communicate the vision. Hey, I feel that we're, this is good because it's helps a bigger purpose of doing this, and that has really helped us. And I've really told them before, hey guys, if anything happens to the company, the first thing I want to take care of is you guys. And definitely, you guys will have a share of it. So that's been the principle: people first, business second. And I think so far we've been around for 2.5 years, right? There are many people who I've seen who have come and gone already, seriously, even in this past 2.5 years, both in the music space and not. And I really would think one of the biggest factors is that really it's like we are like a family in the office. If you come and visit us or you read some of our other mentions. Last year in National Day, Today newspaper, they ran an article about the team. They wanted to interview me. I said, hey, don't interview me. I have enough of media interviews. Not that I have really a lot, but if enough. I said, why don't you interview my staff? So I gave them the limelight. And they interviewed them, and it came out on the Hari Raya, one of the Hari Raya, Puasa or something. Yeah, Hari Raya. And then one of my staff, he's also Malay, and he told me, he said, wow, when I went home, my auntie, uncle came in with a newspaper. Hey, inside newspaper, wow, so proud. The whole family, whole village, all, not a village, all so proud. Wow, it's my son, or it's my grandson. Yeah, and I was so warm to know that, wow, yeah, this is great. Then my son said, oh, my mother went to laminate. I was laminate the article. Wow, so good. Yeah, so that was the idea. People first, business second. When you appreciate people, you find that it's a lot. I mean, they will also, when they see the care that you've given to them, they will also take care of. They know what you need. They know what you need. They know what you want. Where you want to bring the company. When you take care of them, they will also take care of you. It's likewise reciprocates. Okay, next. Yeah, and I really believe in this principle. There's a very wise old book that says a faith as small as a mustard seed, right, can move mountains. I really believe that sometimes all you need is just a faith. Just when you just believe, in yourself, believe in the idea, go for it. Sometimes we don't really need many answers before we go. In fact, if you ask me like, oh, how does my company look like in 6 months? Things change so fast that you really find it tough to answer. And for me, like what has stuck with me, right, is just that faith. I believe that we really can make a difference in the music scene. I believe that we can give local music a bigger stage. So I believe that. I communicate that to my team all the time. When you do a good article, I say, hey, this is great, man. You see, this band has benefited because of your whatever, and they slowly see the results, and then that's how we keep the team going. Next. Okay, so talked about my story. If you have any other questions later, I'll be around here. You can just ask me. But that's in a nutshell. Now let's talk about youth entrepreneurship, which is also the topic for this morning. Next. Yeah. Okay. So I was given a list of questions to work on, and one of them said like, okay, how do you help? What advice would you give to young people who want to own a business? Yeah. And my answer, right, is well, I hope it's not too shocking for you guys, but don't desire to own a business. Yeah, really don't desire to own a business. Desire to solve a problem. Yeah, that is the bigger thing that we should all be going for. If you only aim to start a business, right, I think high chance. Yeah, I mean, if you are maybe very lucky, but other than that, most 90% of all businesses that start up fail. And one of the type of business that I see succeed, solve a problem. There's this term they call scratch your own itch. Yeah, I quite like that because it's very memorable and it's kind of true. You scratch your own itch. So you must first have that problem, right? If not, how you solve it for others. I can't keep asking, hey, what's your problem, and I try to solve it. I myself have to encounter that problem, and I am the target market of the consumer, and therefore I would work on it. So really desire to solve a problem. That's how you think about business. Don't think like, oh, what's good to have. Because often really what's good to have is not enough. It has to be something that people need, then they really use it. You know? Like nowadays the App Store has so many apps, but really how many do we have in our phone? At least, okay, I don't have that many, maybe some of you nowadays you download everything. But yeah, desire to solve a problem. Next. Yeah, these are the common obstacles that I see, you know, amongst young people, and including myself. The obstacles are like conviction, money, risk, pressures. Out of 10 friends that I have in uni, I would say the amount of people who started businesses, maybe 1 or 2. Yeah, really very little. Like when I graduated, I could count like the number of entrepreneur friends that I know fresh from uni. Yeah, and maybe it's the uni that I was from, I'm not too sure. But I felt that, it usually falls under these 5 obstacles. Like lack of conviction, like I don't really, you know, have something that I feel for that much. Or like, hey, I need to make money first, you know, I need to buy a car, buy a condo. Sorry, got no time for business, bank gives me a straighter route. You know, I mean, if you feel that way, and so be it. Risk, yeah, this is I would say if you don't have a risk appetite, I really recommend maybe business maybe might not be the thing for you, or maybe you could have a co-founder, maybe that would help, you know. But like business is really it's a lot of risk. Like, I mean, you have to be comfortable with the uncertainty, because almost all businesses I know, you know, things always change as they go along. Like it never really follows the plan. The plan is just an idea, like, okay, if this works, then I do this, but it rarely works. So you really need to have that, and also the pressures of dealing with hardship. Yeah. Next. So just in case you are thinking of starting, okay, I just have a really quick how to start kind of thing. So this is just on my humble take. I think there are many good books out there that can give you better advice, but just my own personal opinion. Okay, next. Do what you love. Be frank with yourself. Remember, it's a marathon. These are the 3 tips I would okay. Do what you love. I can't say this enough. It's really important. Every time I go out for a concert, right? I was just here 2 weeks ago watching a band, 2 bands play here, and every time I watch a concert, although I look at the bank account, wow, really disappointing. Look at the clients, wow, so difficult to service. Or look at the people, wow, some not so motivated, blah blah blah. Every time I come out for a show, it reminds me, hey, wow, I really, you know, I'm so glad I'm in the business. Well, this is the reason why I do what I do, you know. Want to promote acts, see good local acts, you know, getting better, or see existing, you know, international acts, you know, playing to thousands. Wow, it's great. So I really love it, and I wake up every day really enjoying it. Like yesterday, over dinner 2 days ago, someone asked me, when's the last time you took a holiday? I never really considered that question, but my last holiday I think is about 2-3 years ago. Yeah. I mean, okay, if you count music festivals overseas that I go for, then yes, that's a holiday. But for me, I mean, in terms of like a really pure holiday, it's like maybe before I started the business. And she's like, oh, don't you feel like going for a holiday? Like, I'm barely in need of one. I'm like, oh, I actually never really thought about it, because for me, you know, you really enjoy the day-to-day work. Like, I can't wait to go back on Monday and like, to just, you know, work on the quote, send to the client, or follow up, hey, how's it going? You know, chase them, hey, how? You know, what do you think of what I said? Is it good? So basically, I just, wow, really excited. And that's because you do what you love. And I think many of you may have heard of this thing that's overquoted. Steve Jobs gave a really good speech at Stanford. I think many of you would have heard that. If not, just go and Google Steve Jobs, Stanford. I think it's a great speech or something. And I mean, I can't agree more. He said that deep down inside all of us, right, we have something that we love, and we know that we are meant to do it. You just know. And if you haven't found it yet, just keep going, because at some point in your life, you will find it. And you just need to be daring to take it and pursue it. And he says that to do excellent work, right, you need to love what you do. And I mean, that's coming from the man himself. And to me, I find that that's really true. Because when you do what you love, right, I mean, it's different. It comes out from a different place, and people can tell when they see the heart and soul, right? Though maybe you're not so good, your product really quite sucky, but they see the heart, they see the drive. It's I think that's also one of the reasons why, you know, the investor called me back. It's that kind of heart that really drives the business. So next thing is be frank with yourself. So are you really good at what you are doing? So I think you have to, at some point, you have to be really frank. Like, are we good or are we not? So assuming you're good, keep going. But assuming if you're not, maybe you can think, okay, I mean, I like to think I'm quite good at maybe UI design of website, but to be honest, I don't think I'm there yet. So if you really frank with yourself and you're not there yet, maybe find someone to help you or try to improve yourself in that particular area. But it's very important to be frank with yourself so that you don't waste time. I've seen many entrepreneurs, they think they're like, wow, they read this whatever book and then they think that, wow, they're so good, they can do everything, and then they end up crashing, because they are just, they're like, oh, I'm not gonna give up, not gonna give up, not gonna give up. It's like they keep banging their head against the wall like so many times until it starts to bleed and then they start fainting, that kind of thing. So it's very important to be frank to yourself. What are you good at? What are you not so good at? And you want to also see the time spent. For example, I told you that I started coding, right? Nowadays I rarely code. I get other people to do it. And sometimes I ask myself, hey, should I really go back more into the code? And I ask myself the question, okay, so be very frank with myself. Is this my strength? And I would say, compared to other things, I think not really. My strength is really going out there, securing deals. I really like to think of new ways to work together, bring in the revenue. Although I can if I force myself to code, but I think that's my strength. So for me, I decided to focus on my strength because, in a startup, time is tight. You want to secure market share fast, grow the company. So I decided to get people who can complement me, build alongside me, understand the vision, and then we move from there. And the third thing is, remember, it's a marathon. Yeah, it's not a sprint. So even if you lose some challenges, right, fine. If let's say competitors come up, they get a more successful launch than you, sure, it's fine. Hey, applaud them, well done, And just keep remembering that it's a marathon. It's a long journey. It doesn't just stop with it doesn't just stop at that point. 2 years ago, maybe 1.5 years ago, I joined this competition. It's called, what's it called? Okay, I don't know if I should name it, in case some of the reps are here, but it's by Arts House. Okay, this competition is like a arts and creative companies pitch, something like what you're doing later. So I remember I joined, I was like, wow, arts and creative. I was like, wow, this is what I've been crying out for, because usually, when you have this pitch, you can it come from any area, and usually music is quite tough because the industry is quite closed and very relationship driven, and whole industry is in transition. It's very difficult. So usually music always gets looked aside. It's always looked over, and like other things like healthcare, technology, biotech. Wow, people always like, wow, I love these kind of things. So I remember, arts and creative, this is for us to win already. What's the prize money? Shit, $10,000. That is it, man. So I was like, okay, how much the entry fee? 55 US. I was like, okay, 80 US, something like that, 110 Sing dollars. I was like, that's a bit pricey. Yeah. Never mind, I think we're meant to win this competition. So I just joined. I was like, how many creative companies are there in Singapore, right? Not many. Music some more. Wow, Noble Perspective. I only one. So I decided, let's do it. So I joined the competition, prepared the slides, presented with gusto, confident. I was like, wow, you're going to kill this. I really, pretend I'm killing them. But, and then I presented. Next day was the results. I remember walking, after Sunday, feeling very good. I was walking there. I was like, this is the competition. Thank you, God. I'm going to win $10,000, man. I feel it in my bones. And then I really went there, and then very confident. Then my staff were like, hey, how come so late? I said, sorry, I was at church. Hey, I think we're going to win. I was so prepared you were not coming. I had to give a speech. I said, don't worry, I'm here to give the speech. Thank you speech. So confident. And then I was like, yeah, okay. Then it's like, hey, I heard people were talking about us. My staff said, hey, people talking about us. Bandwagon. And then they were like giving out our flyers, and I was like, wow, really? Yeah. So it looks like going to win already. So and then the announcer was like, they brought out a check. Okay, and the winner goes to. Guess what happened? The winner goes to. Okay, basically, right, it wasn't my company. Yeah, so I was like, my face really went flush. It's like when you had one beers too many, and then it's like, very red. So it's like, it became flush. And then my team members were like, they were so angry. They were like, all the vulgarities came out, and then they were like, this competition is rigged, man. Yeah, because the guy, the judge, when he announced the winner, is like, he turned, he was like, he himself was a bit like unsure. So we said, wow, don't tell me the last minute they changed. It's supposed to be us. Like people were talking about us, they thought we would win, and we didn't win. So I was like, I really couldn't bear to stay in the place. I just like took my fruit punch, finished it, and then left. Yeah. So and I just told I know boss need to look like the bigger person, right? So I said, actually I was very angry, but I said, hey guys, we just have to be the more gracious, we just have to be, gracious. I mean, we didn't win, just be gracious and, congratulate them. You're like, So I was meant to treat them with dim sum, right? I said, hey, you want to eat or not? It's like, I'll still treat you anyway. I don't want to go home. So anyway, that was that. But why am I saying this? Yeah, remember it's a marathon. Because what happened was I lost that $110, right? I was like, because I didn't win. I was like, initially I thought it was like a 100x return, $100, then you get $10,000. Walao, this is like, walao, it's like the best deal, 100x, you know. So I didn't win. And okay, what happened later on, right, is when we had our media launch. Here's amazing. I decided to book the Arts House for some rhyme or reason. In my mind, I just pictured that the event should be at Arts House. I also don't know why. And then I just went to approach Arts House. And because I had joined the competition, right, I knew some of the people who were working there. So I said, hey guys, remember me? Of course they remember me. I thought I really killed the presentation. So they were like, yeah. I said, hey, I want to have my media launch there. I'm still around, by the way. Haha, though you didn't fund me. But anyway, I said, yeah, I'm keen to do it. And in the end, right, they said, oh, I said, is there any way you can get a special prize or not? Since I'm, participating in the competition. So long and short of it is that I got a discount. And you guess how much was the discount? It was 10 times the amount that I had invested into that stupid competition. I mean, that great competition. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is this, things may not work out at that particular moment. You may feel very disappointed, but just keep going, right? You will remember that it's a race. It's not. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You can lose some battles. It's fine. I believe it will all work out in time, right? Yeah. So don't be defeated. I have met many closed doors in my face before. So many of them, I can just keep talking about it, but really remember that it's a marathon. Next. Wow, too small. Okay, so basically, I just, as a very cheesy ending, I decided to find a picture of an oyster. So you know why they say oyster, right? Because in the oyster there is a pearl. Okay, I wanted to find the oysters that we eat at a buffet, but I realized that doesn't really encapsulate the point of this talk, right? It's not meant to eat. You're not meant to slurp it up. It's not meant to slurp you up. It's meant to, there's in the oyster there is this pearl, right? Which, like, you guys are the pearl. Okay, that's so cheesy. But anyway, okay, I looked up this whole word, the world is my oyster. So how it started was, it was written by Shakespeare. So in one of his writings for The Merry Widows of Windsor, yeah, that's where the phrase, that's where it was coined. So I'll read it to you because it's too small, my apologies. It says, why then the world's my oyster, which I with sword will open. Okay, the English back then is a bit different from right now, right? But basically it's saying that the world is my oyster, which I with sword will open. So I just want to encourage you today that inside of you there is that pearl, and to me the pearl is a passion, it's a potential, it's a potential energy or source which is inside of you. And it just needs to be quite open, whether it's in business, whether you work for the government, or you are a healthcare professional, or whatever you are. Inside of you, there is that pearl, and as a young person, the potential is really limitless. And just hope that all of us, would really find that pearl, that we will prize it open and really discover our potential. So with that, thanks very much. I believe we have some time for questions, but yeah, thanks for listening. And I think I have my last slide, my contact details. This is my email and all that social media stuff, and yeah. So yeah, okay, so you can ask me some questions. There's a mic stand for you to perform. Oh, the mic is down there. Okay, so anyone has a question, just be really candid. I mean, we're not that far in age gap anyway, but just kidding. Anyone has a question? Ask me some hard stuff, man. Come on. Oh, at which point, right? Okay, so let me think. That's a good question. Okay, so the website, remember I told you I coded it myself, right? I gave myself an end of year deadline because, this was something that people just recommended me to do. In university, many of my friends got jobs, right? And I graduated with a pretty good honor standing. Many of my friends went on to earn quite a lot of money, maybe 7K a month kind of thing, working for institutions. So they were like, hey, what are you doing now, man? Let's go for a drink. Of course I'm the poorest among the lot, right? It's like, hey man, so what you doing now? I was like, oh, still working on the what do you call that again? It's like, yeah, bandwagon. Oh, bandwagon, yeah. So they were like, hey, so when's your timeline? Yeah, they asked me, when's your timeline? I was like, what do you mean timeline? They said that, hey, surely you can't be doing this indefinitely, right? There must be a time whereby you feel that it's not doable and then you should quickly go and get a job. So, I mean, for me, I just decided, to take that into consideration. So it was September when we launched the site, 2011. I decided, okay, I'll give myself to end of year to see if it's viable. So, so about 4 months. So after December, and then I look back and then I see